At the age of 9, I was doing the sewerage. I was a plumber. I was lifting up the lids of the showers with the help of another girl that wasn't educated in the classroom as well. She was sent out to clean them with me. And we had to get down into the sewerage showers, which I was only about, we say 3 feet at the time. It overcovered my waist with the surge coming up. We used to have to draw the drawing sticks because the toilets were flooded. And we used to have to shove them up and down, up and down. We had the surge up to our waist, standing in our bare feet with our shoes and stockings off.
We were taken into the Black Maria, big black car. Dad just left. They shaved us, our hair, and put paraffin on our hair. And they burnt all our clothes that we were wearing because we had fleas. Philomena was 4. I was 8.5, I think, 8.5. They sent Chris to Galway. They wouldn't put us together, which was very cruel. We couldn't understand what was happening. But little did we know, what was going to happen. Little did we know. Little did we bloody know.
I always believe that certain traumas, if you like, are embedded forever in the brain and in the memory, and that no matter what you do, you can never seem to erase them, or you may forget about them for a while and you may just see or do something that will trigger it all off again. One of my earliest memories of Golden Bridge, and I have never forgotten it, is going in there the first day with a little bag of clothes, a little small suitcase, in fact it was. It was an old brown one, and my clothing was in it. And the following day, actually seeing another child wearing an item of clothing belonged to me.
I was sent into the kitchen to do the cooking, cleaning and skivvying. I did that for a few years. I was put in there. I didn't get a great deal of schooling. It was... Sometimes I'd go into class and it would be mostly like in the afternoon when there'd be nothing doing in the kitchen.
We used to have to sweep a yard, which was 100 feet long. And I used to have to go from corner to corner, from top to bottom. And I had to sweep that and then put my hands down the showers again, the small showers, where the kids in the yard might put sweet papers down. And the stink of it, the smell of them was absolutely appalling, There was snails, everything down the showers. I used to have to put my bare hands down and clean it. And she'd come along and I used to have to leave the lid off so that she'd expect it. If it was dirty, I got a stick across the face.
During the night, they come around and check the beds. And if you wet the bed, there's a hallway, there's sinks and all baths and all. They used to fill it up with cold water and throw you into a bath of cold water. And then they put you out into a yard with the same nitrous on you and sitting there all night. Sometimes be really snowing out of heavens and all for wetting the bed.
I was in the class and she was doing we were doing like an English lesson, I think. And I put my pen in the inkwell and I got a bit of ink on my dress. And the nun walked in. She just gave me a whack with her hand. How dare you get ink on your dress and all this sort of stuff, And she was going mad. So she said, "You're coming with me." She took me up to a little place called St. Bridget's. And she just beat me and beat me. And beat me and beat me. She just beat me everywhere. And I was crying for my mum. You know, I said, no, Mom, please, Mom, help me. I kept saying, Mom, please, Mom, help me. Oh, I miss her so much. I missed her so much. I couldn't believe where I was, you know. I couldn't believe it. And she said, you can call your mother all you want, she said. She's dead.
Well, I was up playing in the schoolyard. My dress got dirty, and the nun happened to see it. So she dragged me into... There was a toilet out in the yard. There's a couple of toilets. And there was steps going down to it. She caught me by the back of my hair, bashed my head off the toilet pot. Half of my teeth went down the toilet and the other half went on the ground.
Every time Sister Sophia met me in the school when I'd be cleaning during the day, she'd give me a wallop, but I wouldn't know what I'd be walloped for. Every time she passed me out, I'd get the strap around her habit, right across the face, if she didn't have the stick. She was a monster, a pure monster. I often wonder, was she mad herself? She would go into a mad rage that you'd swear she was going to take her life within a minute or two. And all of a sudden, she'd just slap over it.
I loved the piano. And sometimes I used to sneak upstairs and sometimes I'd be open and have a go, and used to even make up little tunes, like, you know, and I was just playing. And then all of a sudden, this great big smack came on my right ear, you know, like that. This almighty smack from this teacher. And she banged the piano down as well. My fingers. I just couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. And she said, how dare you? How dare you, she said. And she gave me another one. She gave me quite a good hiding.
I remember one night I was told to stand on the landing, and it was about 3 in the morning, she hadn't come. So I crept into bed. I thought she forgot about me, or I fell asleep and thought she was gone into bed herself and didn't see me in the dark. So next of all, I heard the footsteps coming to Our Lady's dorm. So I knew she was making for my bed. She pulled back the clothes, and with the stick, she leathered me from head to toe. She lashed me out of it. With the screams of me, I woke up a few of the girls when they heard me screaming, and I heard them saying, Sister, you'll kill her. Stop, Sister, you'll kill her. You're doing too much.
There was a little girl, me and another girl, walking down the line. 2 of us got out of line. She got a hiding, so did I. But the next morning I didn't see her. We were all told to go into the lodge, and she was dead. She was laid out. She was in her communion clothes. She was beautiful, she was. And I blamed myself, because I said it should have been me, not her. Because I think I started the messing first.
When I was in the kitchen, I had to put the mince into the mixer. And what happened was, I put my finger in, a little finger, this finger here. You know, it was tiny. It was about like 13, you know, and I put it in accidentally. And the machine just chopped a bit off. And the whole top of it, all the flesh was just hanging. And the nun thought it was quite funny. She got great pleasure in telling them that a bit of Kathleen Byrne's finger was in the mince. You couldn't cry or anything because she just clout you one. You just couldn't cry. And she said, well, she said, that was a stupid thing to do, wasn't it now, Byrne, you know? Well, I said, Sister, I didn't, you know, I said, it was an accident. I said, accident, my foot. She said, anyway, she said, There's nobody can take you to the hospital now, she said, so you'll just jolly well have to wait. And I just had to carry on working in the kitchen.
Everything was spotless when Mr. O'Malley was coming to the school. He was from the Eastern Help Board or something. Everything was scrubbed overnight. We were all dressed in new clothes, new shoes. I was even pushed into classrooms, even though I wasn't being educated. I'd be thrown into a classroom for the day, just so that Mr. O'Malley wouldn't see me going around the school cleaning with a bucket and cloth and a deck scrub in my hands. They pretend they were educating us. Tablecloths were put on the tables. There was a cake maybe on the table, the middle of the table for 6 at each table. Mr. O'Malley must have thought we had a great life. But as soon as Mr. O'Malley was gone, tablecloths, everything was taken off the tables. Everything. We were all back to normal again.
Never went to school. I used to be mostly in the dining hall cleaning and scrubbing, or else down the laundry. That's how I still don't know how to read or write. I've been laying in myself trying to. They used to call me Dopey Dowdy. That was only tick. So it was pointless teaching somebody that knows nothing. That's the reason why. But I've been trying to prove to myself I'm not.
I used to go into the toilet and try and learn how to read and write myself through the breaks while they're all in the classrooms. We say I was scrubbing a dormitory. I might take 5 minutes and pick up a little storybook and go in and sit on the toilet and try and pick out words and try and educate myself.
I would get homework from the national school and I would go back up to the orphanage after school time, but I had to make rosary beads. And in order to finish the homework, I'd have to neglect the rosary beads. And in order to finish the rosary beads, I'd have to neglect the homework. So I got punished for not having the rosary beads made, and I got punished for not having my homework done. And I was always torn. And I always strived to do my best in order not to get in trouble. And the only trouble you could get into was just getting beaten. So I didn't want to be beaten anymore. So to avoid a beating, I just tried to do everything. And I got it wrong most of the time.
I was hiding in the laundry. There's a coal cellar. We could cut through the laundry and the steps down to it, and there's all coal. So me and another girl was hiding on top of the coal because we were trying to run away because we knew we were going to get hiding in any case. So we were trying to run away. So everything, we do all in benediction. So we thought everything was grand. Things were silent. And so we had to peep our heads up. And we looked at it and we seen the nun and the priest kissing one another. So we burst out laughing because we knew no better. We didn't know. So she got us and dragged us down off the coal. So and locked us in the bedroom, the dormitory, for a week. And some of the children used to try and sneak up bread to us. They used to go up these iron stairs on the other side, coming from the yard up into it. So they used to sneak up and throw us up bread and all. Otherwise we had nothing to eat or nothing. And sometimes now when you flush the toilet chain, you used to have to put a cup or get something and put it under to get water. Not the toilet chain. Because we used to be toasty.
I think there was that part of me there. I think I wanted to please them. Maybe they would like me. Maybe even love me. And I think if I did a job and I did it right, maybe I wouldn't get beaten for it. Because if you didn't do the job right, well, then you just got beaten. So you had to do it properly. Loads. There were so many things that I had to do. And I always did seem to get the very heavy and hard work.
A human being shouldn't be treated like that. Nobody should be. Because it was human. It wasn't my fault. I didn't ask to be put there. I was only 6 months old. I didn't do nothing wrong at that age. But to be even put there, just because my mother was sick, I was put there. But even if you asked for I'd done something wrong, if I was had to commit murder, I'd say, yeah, I deserved that life, but I'd done nothing.
When I was 9, I got up one night and I went down to the medicine press. I forced it open with a fork. I took the tablets out and I must have, I don't know whose tablets they were. Took about 15 bottles of tablets out and I was going to drown every one of them down me until the light went on. And it was Miss Grogan. She caught me at the press. And with that, she woke Sister Sophia up and told Sister Sophia I was at the breaking into the medicine press. Now, this was to commit suicide, to take all the tablets, drown myself with the suicide. I just got the vision that I wanted to die straight away, you know, and that's why I went down. I went down during the night to do it. Suicide was there from the age of 10 up to this day.
I remember what happened to me first when I got my periods. I thought I was bleeding to death. I didn't know what to do. I said, what am I going to do? They just handed me a piece of egg. I said, what's this for? And I said to one of the other girls, I don't know what's wrong with me. I'd be scared. I thought I was bleeding to death and all I did. They hand you a piece of cloth with your number, a number on it. And there was a press then that just said to me, every time that happens, there's a press there. Get one of them. I said, it's going to happen to me again.
We need to look at the reasons why somebody is led down a certain, alleyway of life and another person goes down another alleyway. And I think it's all to do with your nurturing and your care, your education, your knowledge. I came out of Golden Bridge totally ignorant. And the alcohol and abuse somehow represented normality for me, which obviously it wasn't. But I would drink and I would feel fantastic. I felt taller than I was, slimmer than I was, more attractive than I was. I could converse with people perhaps quite loudly and brashly, and I was always joking and larking about. I think that was just my escape mechanism, and I needed desperately to be accepted. So I thought if I'm funny and I tell jokes and I'm loud and I'm laughing and smiling, I'll be accepted because they'll think, oh, well, Caroline is great fun. But, Caroline was actually dead inside.
They just handed me a brown paper bag with a card on it and a few clothes in it. And they said to me, goodbye, you're going out into the outside world now. You're going home to your father. So I was scared. I didn't know what. I thought they were joking me. And then they opened the door. And then I had to go.
When I left the orphanage, I was still put into a place again where I had to work in the kitchen, run by the Sisters of Mercy. So the only difference was I was getting like £2, 10 shillings a week. But they were still like in control of me. Everything was checked with me, where I went and where I was going. You see, there was nobody there for me. There was absolutely nobody. The only few friends that I had were the girls in the orphanage. I'd no confidence. And again, I worked and worked in the kitchen. That's just the way it was.
When you've been locked up all them years and then all of a sudden you're out, you don't know what's happening, where you're going or what's going to happen to you.
I took a jump in the end. I jumped off a balcony of a church. And I fractured my back in 4 places. That's how I can't go out without the crutches. I was in the Richmond hospital lying on my back in tractions for 6 months. I then, through the years, I started cutting my wrist. I started cutting myself to pieces with blades. The reason why I wanted to commit suicide was because I felt I'd never be any good to anybody. With no education, no job, no home, no one to run to when I was sick, that I just wanted to finish everything.
I thought he was nice. Thought he cared about me. And one night he took me back to his flat near James's Street, near Guinness's Brewery it was. Always remember it. The brewery was up there. And he took me upstairs into his flat, like. And the television was on. And there was ice skating on the television. And he asked me if I could open my legs as wide as that. And I didn't know what to say. I didn't know anything. I didn't know anything at all. And then he said, let me show you my nice wallpaper that I put up. And he brought me into this bedroom. I was in the sitting room and he brought me into the bedroom. The bedroom is over there, like. And I can still see this wallpaper. Lilac flowers and yellow and red wallpaper. Small flowers. And he put me on the bed and he lay me back and then proceeded to rape me. And I was just scared. I was just so scared. He had no right to bloody do that. He'd no right to do that. Did he? He didn't, did he? And he told me to pull my pants up and he said, you're a virgin or something, he said. And I didn't know what he meant. And then he took me home.
I got pregnant because I didn't know what was happening either. Because I wanted somebody to hold me. It's hard to explain. Well, you never had somebody to hold you in your life. And so your man just holded me and things. And I felt a warmness or something. It's hard to explain. And I think that's how that happened.
I had no idea what that man was doing. Except I know I didn't want it, and it was hurting me. And I was frightened, and I was scared. I was scared. And there was nobody that I could talk to. Who could I talk to?
No, they never told me anything about sex or anything or men. I knew none. I was stupid. Which they were right that way by calling me Dopey Dolly, because I did know nothing. But that wasn't my fault. It was their fault for not teaching me.
And if we'd have been properly educated, you know, about sex, if you like, you know, well, there was no love, was there? So there was no love from them. There was no affection. There was no nurturing of any kind. There was absolutely nothing. You were just a thing to be used.
I bought a paint stripper and I poured it over my legs and I lit a match to burn the legs off me. Because when I was doing that, about 20 minutes before I did that, I got the smell of the shows. Golden Bridge came back into my head. I got the smell of standing in a show. And I thought I was thinking, as my daughter knows, I'm very clean. I could constantly smell myself. Even after leaving Golden Bridge, from all the dirt in the toilets, no matter how many times I battered myself, I always felt I was smelling. I could go out and buy new clothes and still feel smelling. And I just wanted to set myself alight.
I played around with heroin, with morphine. I smoked quite a lot of cannabis. And the addiction was so severe that, I was admitted to a psychiatric hospital where the addiction of the drugs, on top of all the, if you like, obsessive fears I had, just made me an emotional wreck.
I went to a cafe, met my husband. I knew him a week. I was telling him about the baby and all. And he says, don't worry, I'll say it's mine. So he went back up to the home. He signed the papers and all on our wedding day. We got married. The day I got married, my wedding present was to come and collect my child. I married this man because I wanted to keep my child. I never had anything in my life. And I wanted something that I could call mine. And he was mine. He was like a part of me. And I just lived for him.
I think what I and many people had been through in our childhoods, in the industrial schools, the foster homes, and it was mainly to do with abandonment, with being beaten, with being sexually abused, with having no self-esteem, no confidence, never feeling I contributed anything, either by my presence or my absence. I didn't belong to anybody, I wasn't special to anybody. And I think also that in a way was part of my decision to be determined to have children and to kind of prove, well, I'm going to have children and I'm never going to give them away and I'm never going to allow them to be abused.
He used to come home and beat me up. He was an alcoholic. I'd often walk the streets all night with the kids. In Glasnevin, there used to be a big field there, all trees. I've often slept down there with the kids under my arms, trying to keep them warm. Just to get away from him. Been in and out through courts, everything. But all along I always thought it was the right way. He was supposed to do that to you, because that's the way I was raised. I got thrown downstairs, broken legs and all.
They'd got no right to do what they did. And all I was good for was for skivvying and cleaning and doing as you were told. I'm very angry with them. All I did was lose my mother. I lost my mum through no fault of my own. And they put me into an industrial school. And then that's the way they treated me. And I didn't do anything, did I? I didn't do anything wrong. What did I do wrong? You know, why? Why did I do it? And that's why I'm like I am today. That's why I'm like I am today. I can't get my life together, even after all those bloody years. And that's why maybe I kept on doing working in kitchens. Because maybe in that part of me, they're saying in my head, that's all you're good for.
I took a few overdoses a few times. Even cut my wrist a few times as well, thinking there was no other way out. I've tried everything. Where if they had taught me, the same as the other children, I would have known things and my life would have been completely different.
We were just children. We were just children. They just wanted a bit of love. Just a little bit of care. And a little bit of attention, maybe. We didn't want anything, you know, great big toys or anything. Fancy dolls. We just wanted to be loved. And we never got it. All we got was abuse, beatings, humiliation, no decent education. I had no certificates when I left. I used to pretend that I had. To work my way in to get jobs, do you know what I mean? It was hard. But then if you were going for domestic, what anybody can do cleaning.
I tell you the truth, I wouldn't like my worst enemy. I wouldn't give a life like that. It's an awful life for anybody. So I made sure none of my children would ever go into harm, no matter what had happened to me. I prefer to die first than let any of them go. Because you're warned not to tell tales out of school. If you tell anybody, you get worse when you come back. So you can't tell anybody.
There was always that fear of not being believed, of feeling sorry for yourself, of seeking attention, of lying. And I knew there was a kind of complete and whole person inside me that, given the chance, I could express and explain how I really felt, and maybe then that would put me on the road to recovery.
The depression was so terrible. My head used to pain me. I just used to feel I wanted to cut my breasts off because I always felt when they used to insult me about my weight. After when I was 13, after I started to menstruate, they used to insult me. I was getting a right pudding. Sometimes I used to feel I just want to cut them off. I maybe used to think they were right.
I certainly knew I wasn't normal. I just needed some guidelines, and being ignorant, I just didn't know where to go. I only knew to go to the drug clinics. I only knew to go to the people on the streets of Dublin. I can remember going to the back of the then Jervis Street Hospital, and we would steal the dead people's clothes out of the bins because we knew where they were.
I have been under a psychiatrist since. I attend every fortnight, and every fortnight for an injection, and every month see the psychiatrist, and that's going on 34 years. I've been hospitalised 25 years of my life in mental homes since I left Golden Bridge.
God knows where I would have ended up like some of the others in a bloody nut house. And the more you were a fighter, the more they dished out to you.
I was in St. Brendan's. I was locked in padded cells because I was doing harm to myself. They stripped me and put me into padded cells for my own safety, to stop me from harming myself. I tried to choke myself. I cut my throat.
I see a psychiatrist now. And a psychologist. and I'm on tablets because I want to get better. I'm not one for taking them, and I don't particularly like taking them because I feel they've won. Maybe they have won in some way, I don't know. And I always feel very humble with people in authority. And even when I was ill, I would take months to see a doctor because it was like I was privileged that a doctor would take time out to see me.
For somebody's whole life to be destroyed, it'd be a lot they'd have to do for them. And I don't think they could make back up the past. Nobody can, because the hurt is inside you all the time. It has to happen to you for to know. The hurt is there all the time. It's really bad. Sometimes you wake up with nightmares. Even after all them years, it comes back to you.
They know what they did. They know what they did. How can they not know? They can say sorry. It's okay if they want to say sorry, you know? But I want more. I want part of what my life was taken away from me because I want to make a life for me, because I deserve it. Because all I did was lose my mum. All of us children, that's all we did was lose our mum.
I'll be honest with you, I think they should cater for everybody that was in homes. Pay back what they took off them. Not through this business of counselling or anything like that. I think they should be sorted out through money. After all, we brought the money into the homes by making the rosy beads. That was our money. We slaved for that. They weren't paying for them, because if they were, why did we have to make beads and scrub the places and no one coming in to do it? I think we should get all that money back from the government and the Eastern Health Board. I personally think that, because there is a lot of people that I know that was with me very sick with their nerves, and nothing will help them. And I think there should be conversated.
Justice. The right thing has got to be done. They know who they are, don't they? And they've got to admit they're wrong. They have to admit to what they did. Because it's not going to go away. They know what they did. They must know what they did. They could do what they like with us. They could do what they like with us. Nobody asked questions. So justice has got to be seen to be done.
Don't get me wrong, money's not everything, but it would cover, if you had kids of your own, children of your own, it would cover the support to give them, something to give them that you hadn't got of your own, and make up for the time that you wouldn't able to mind them while I was in a mental hospital. My poor children had to go into care. They were missing out on the luxury I could have given them.
Compensation should be paid up. Because I know that I want to get my life back. And I haven't worked for a few years. And the doctors over here have helped me. And maybe then, by me getting something, it won't be everything, but by God, it will help me to get the real therapy that I really need. And that's all I ask for. Just a bit of justice. And I don't think that's a lot to ask.
Would have loved to be either a teacher, a lawyer, or something. I would have loved to be able to get on in the world. And I was something that my children would be proud of me, that they could look up to me and say, that's me ma. But that's never going to happen.
I just want my life back. That's all I want. I haven't worked for a few years now because I've got no confidence. I've got no confidence. I don't feel good about myself. And it's bloody damn hard. And I try so much. And I try so much. I've told myself life goes on and just get on with it. But it's not so easy. It's not so bloody easy. And I know I've tried to kill myself once. And many's a time I felt like doing it. And Catholicism for all it's worth. It was that one belief in the Almighty that I would never be forgiven. But the day will come and I can forgive myself if I did wrong. That is the one thing. Because I don't have to answer to them anymore. And just God, just him.
They owes more than a lifetime, my life, they took from me. Because I didn't ask to be born, and I didn't ask to be put there. And I didn't ask them to treat me the way they did. Because it was unhuman.
I don't know why they did what they did. I don't know why. Why? Sometimes I try to make sense of it all. Sometimes I used to tell myself, well, maybe I deserved it, and so what? It was only this, it was only that. The humiliation, the humiliation.
I would have loved to have a home. A beautiful home. Just a normal life. Like other people. Be able to go to school. Play with other children. Without being afraid. Or frightened. Like a normal person that would have. You hear people in work and all saying, telling me what they done when they were small and all. Their children, where they went and all. Their mother and fathers and all. So I wish that had been me. Because I've nothing to look back on like that. So I just keep my mouth shut. I don't say anything.
The one thing that I would have loved was just to have my mum alive and my dad and just my sisters around me and dress up and play games. That's what I would have liked. But now, I'm over a half a century. That's still what I would like. I'd like it, a mum. Just somebody that I could call on. And I think that's what I would really like. And somewhere maybe to call. Then wherever my mum would be, that would be my home. I think that's it, really.
I think the most important thing is to bring justice to the people who have been abused, to bring recognition for their pain and their suffering, a lifelong pain, a lifelong suffering. And I speak for many thousands of people in Ireland who have and continue to experience the same sense of nothingness, this void. We need the void inside of us to be filled. That black hole needs to be filled. It can only be filled when you say, not if we did something wrong, or if we hurt you, we apologize. You did hurt us. You abused us in many ways. You deprived us of childhood, of teenage life, of puberty. You robbed us of our dreams. I was deprived of my brothers and sisters, Philomena, Kathy, Sean, Andy, Michael. When you told me that my brothers and sisters were dead. When my brother Sean came to Clifton and he knocked on your convent door, and you told him coldly when he asked, I want to see my sister, Ina. And you said she's dead. Do you know what you did to my brother that day? When you told my sisters in Booterstown, Philomena and Kathy, that I was dead, and when you told me that all my brothers and sisters were dead. Do you understand what that feels like? Did you ever experience it? How can you know? How can you know?